My dear friend, come sit with me a moment. I know the world looks a little different once you've crossed that magical number 60. Your back makes new sounds, your knees file complaint reports, and the mirror starts telling a very honesty-based version of your life. But today, I want to tell you something important. Something I've learned the hard way. Something that might make you laugh, cry, or throw your tea across the room. We're talking about the 5 reasons senior men like me should never, listen carefully, never remarry after 60. And I'm saying this with the full weight of my 80 years and every wrinkle that came as a receipt from my life's mistakes. You ready? Good. Bring your heart close, because we're diving into some deep waters, and occasionally the water might be boiling. You know, turning 80 is a strange experience. You start remembering things you didn't know you forgot. You start laughing at things you once cried about. And the idea of love, that thing becomes both beautiful and dangerous, like a cat with a knife. And speaking of dangerous, there's something these older men keep doing that makes me want to grab them by the collar and say, "Son, why are you doing this to yourself?" Remarrying after 60. It's like playing poker with arthritis. You're not holding the cards are holding you. Let me tell you a story. 3 years ago, an old buddy of mine named Harold, good man, smart man, but not smart enough, decided to get married again at 72. You know what he told me? "Paul, I'm doing this because I don't want to be lonely." And you know what happened after 6 months? He wasn't lonely anymore. Nope, he had constant company, doctor appointments, legal documents, relationship drama, and a brand new lecture schedule. Lonely? Not at all. Peaceful? Absolutely not. That man would have sold his dentures for 5 minutes of silence. So today, friend, we're going through 5 reasons senior men should never remarry after 60. And these aren't just opinions. These are warnings, etched in experience, polished by heartbreak, and sprinkled with the wisdom you only get when your back cracks more than your jokes. But before we dive into reason number 1, let's talk about you for a second. Yes, you, the brilliant, gentle, 60-year-old woman sitting across from me. You're the type men rush into marriage for, the kind that gives them softness, stability, warmth, maybe even a little chocolate cake now and then. But senior men? Oh, we don't always deserve that. Because most of us, we're not marrying for love after 60. No. We're marrying out of fear. And fear is a terrible matchmaker. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's begin. Reason number 1, the emotional baggage truck has already parked and isn't going anywhere. Friend, I don't care how senile a man gets. At 60, 65, 70, 80, we carry emotional baggage like we're professional weightlifters. And no, it's not a cute little suitcase with stickers from Hawaii. It's one of those giant airport bags the airline charges extra for, the kind they put an orange tag on because it might break the conveyor belt. We're talking decades of habits, regrets, failed romances, heartbreaks, losses. And if the guy's divorced, oh honey, that adds at least 10 extra emotional carry-ons. You know the worst part? Most senior men don't unpack. They just drag the bags into the new marriage and park them right in the middle of the living room. Let me tell you what happened when my friend Charlie remarried at 68. His new wife found out that he still kept photos of his ex-wife on his phone. Not 1 or 2, a whole gallery, labeled Things to Remember. The man barely remembered his own anniversary, but he remembered that. I asked him why he did it. He shrugged and said, "Old habits." Old habits ruin new relationships faster than cholesterol ruins arteries. And that's why senior men should never remarry, because they're not new versions of themselves. They're updated versions of their old problems. But wait, don't wander off. Come back here. This next part is important. Reason number 2, health problems turn into relationship problems. Now listen, I'm 80. Everything hurts. Everything, even things I didn't know I had. At my age, you don't wake up and stretch. You wake up and negotiate with your body. But guess what happens when a senior man gets married again? Suddenly, his health issues aren't just his issues. Oh no, they become the entire household's full-time job. Imagine this. His blood pressure goes up, her stress goes up. His cholesterol rises, her grocery bills rise. His knee collapses, her patience collapses. Marriage in your 20s is romantic. Marriage in your 40s is teamwork. Marriage after 60, honey, it's caregiving with paperwork. I knew a man named Robert who remarried at 74. During the first month, just the first month, his new wife had to accompany him to a cardiologist, a urologist, a dermatologist, a physical therapist, and one very emotional appointment with a podiatrist because Robert apparently had traumatized toes. Do you think that's what she signed up for? Of course not. Senior men often underestimate how much their health affects others, and expecting a new spouse to manage that? That's not fair. That's a burden disguised as companionship. Stay with me, friend. Don't drift off. You need to hear this next one especially. Reason number 3. Financial entanglements become a wild jungle. Ah, yes. Money. The thing that ruins friendships, marriages, families, and sometimes the will to live. At 60 plus, most people's finances look like a plate of spaghetti. Twisted, sticky, complicated, and impossible to separate cleanly. Senior men marrying again bring pension plans, inheritance expectations, medical bills, previous divorce settlements, grown children with opinions. Oh, the children. The adult children of senior men getting remarried, they go straight into lawyer mode. I've seen adult kids turn into professional investigators within 24 hours of their dad saying, "I'm thinking of getting remarried." Suddenly, everybody's a financial expert. "Dad, this will affect your retirement distribution." "Dad, this changes the estate plan." "Dad, are you sure she's not after your assets?" "Dad, you know love doesn't need paperwork." You know why they care so much? Because they know the old man is about to make decisions with his heart instead of his brain. And at that age, neither one works reliably. And the poor woman marrying him? She gets dragged into family politics, inheritance disputes, and financial hearings she never asked for. I once told a friend of mine, "Look, if you remarry at this age, you're not just saying, 'I do,' you're saying, 'I do accept all the financial risks and past debts and possible inheritance drama.'" He remarried anyway. Now his wife knows more about his financial history than his accountant. This is why older men should not marry again. Their finances are a shipwreck, and any woman who steps on board is risking getting pulled under. Now, hold on, friend. Before we continue, before I reveal the 4th and 5th reasons, let me say something from the deepest part of my old, stubborn heart. If you're enjoying this conversation, if you're listening like you're sitting right here beside me, nodding, laughing, maybe whispering, "Oh my goodness, Paul," then do me a favor. Like this video, leave a comment, share your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel so we can keep talking like this, heart to heart, friend to friend. Because I've got stories, and you've got the ears to hear them. All right? Good. Now, come closer. Let's keep going. Reason number 4. Lifestyle differences become battles instead of compromises. Let me tell you this slowly. When a young couple gets married, they compromise. When an older couple gets married, they clash. Because at our age, we are who we are.
Nothing short of divine intervention is going to change us. Take breakfast, for example. Young couples say things like, "He likes cereal, I like toast. How cute." Old couples, "He likes loud chewing, I like peace and quiet. I will physically leave the house if he eats near me." A man over 60 has his routines carved into stone. When he sleeps, how he eats, how he showers, where he puts things, how he grunts when he sits down, how he folds his underwear. These things become sacred rituals. And you think he's going to change that for someone new? Oh, friend, no. At best, he might pretend for a week. A week. Then the mask comes off. I knew a man named Gerald who remarried at 67. For the first couple of weeks, he behaved like a gentleman. Then one day, his wife discovered he had a secret habit of clipping his toenails in the kitchen. The kitchen, where people eat. She screamed so loudly the neighbors thought a murder was happening. Lifestyle differences at this age aren't adorable quirks, they're earthquakes. Which brings us to the final reason, the biggest one, the one most senior men refuse to accept. But I'm not refusing. I'm telling it to you now. Reason number 5. Companionship can be found without marriage. Friend, lean in. A man doesn't need a marriage certificate to feel loved. He needs presence, conversation, laughter, friendship, and memories. But what do most senior men do? They panic. They worry about loneliness. They think marriage will fix it. But loneliness isn't solved by adding another person to your life. It's solved by connecting with the right people in the right ways for the right reasons. Men over 60 should not marry again. They should deepen their friendships, strengthen their family ties, build their community, love without paperwork, share without obligation, give without fear. And if they want companionship, well, they can find someone to share tea with, talk with, laugh with, someone who doesn't need legal contracts to confirm affection. Marriage, at that age, it becomes a responsibility, not a romance, a duty, not a joy, a burden, not a blessing. And that, friend, is why I'm here telling you this, because I've lived it, I've watched others live it, and I don't want you or anyone you care about to walk into a storm thinking it's sunshine.
Now, where were we, friend? Ah, yes. Companionship without marriage. Let me pick that thought right back up, like an old man picking up his drop medicine bottle, slowly, carefully, and with a grunt loud enough for the neighbors to hear. Because what I said before is true. A senior man doesn't need marriage. What he needs is connection. And connection, my dear, comes in many shapes and forms, much more flexible than a wedding ring, and certainly less expensive. Let me give you an example from my own life. When my Martha passed, God bless her gentle soul, I thought I needed to find someone to replace that feeling of being paired. Not necessarily out of love, but because loneliness doesn't knock. It barges in and throws its shoes on your couch like it owns the place. The first 2 years after she went, oh, friend, I was a mess. I was like a confused rooster crowing at all the wrong times, walking in circles, forgetting where I put things, especially my heart. Then one day, I met a woman at the park. Her name was Gloria. Sweet, talkative, and sharp as a fresh needle. We got along like two retired spies who recognized each other's scars. And for the first time since losing Martha, I didn't feel alone. But here's the key. We didn't get married. We didn't even date. We were just companions. We talked, we shared lunches, we laughed at our own ridiculous aging bodies. We helped each other in small ways, not out of obligation, not out of law,
Not out of paperwork, but out of simple human care. And every time someone asked, "So, are you two together?" she'd laugh and say, "Together? Honey, at our age, we're just trying to stay upright." That, friend, is true companionship, something many senior men don't realize they can have, something many senior men mistakenly think requires a wedding ring, something many senior men lose because they rush into marriage instead of trusting connection. But I'm getting ahead of myself again. Let me pull you deeper into this story, like a grandfather pulling his granddaughter close to whisper a family secret. Because now I want to tell you what happens after these 5 reasons. What happens inside the heart of a senior man when he finally understands the truth. And what happens inside a woman's heart, like yours, when she sees it clearly. Come closer. Let's walk through it. Let me take you back to Harold. Yes, Harold, the man who remarried at 72. You should have seen him 6 months after the wedding. He looked like a raccoon who hadn't slept in a week. Eye bags big enough to hold groceries, hair sticking out like he'd been electrocuted, a constant tremble in his voice like a man being haunted by his own decisions. I visited him one afternoon. His house looked like a battlefield. Papers everywhere, bills on the table, wedding photos tilted on the walls, almost as if they were trying to escape. He sat down, sighed, and whispered to me, "Paul, I think I made a mistake." Now, I didn't say I told you so. I'm old, but I still have manners. "What happened?" I asked. He leaned in close, eyes full of regret. "I thought I wanted marriage. What I actually wanted was comfort. Someone to talk to, someone to sit with, someone to hold my hand when my arthritis flares up. But instead, I signed myself up for a new life with new responsibilities I'm too old to handle." He rubbed his forehead like he was trying to erase the memory. "She's a good woman, truly, but every day feels like I'm trying to climb a mountain made out of expectations." And friend, that's the truth. Marriage at that age, it's not 2 people blending lives. It's 2 people blending decades of habits, personalities, traumas, hopes, fears, and routines that refuse to blend. It's like trying to mix oil and vinegar when the bottle's already empty. Now, I'm not saying older men shouldn't love again. Love is wonderful. Love is a blessing. Love is the only reason I still bother to brush my hair some mornings. But marriage? That's where things get complicated. Let me tell you what I told Harold. You don't need a wife. You need a friend. You need someone who can sit with you without expecting you to turn into a younger, stronger, healthier version of yourself. You need companionship, I said, not commitment that feels like a job. He nodded, and you know what he told me? I wish someone had told me this before. So here I am telling you, friend, and telling everyone watching, because life is too short and old age is too long to be stuck in a commitment you weren't built for anymore. Treated each other kindly, without the pressure of marriage tying us into knots. That's when I realized companionship is love without the weight of expectation. That, my sweet friend, is the kind of love senior men should embrace. That is why I'm telling you, and all the women watching, and all the men too stubborn to admit it, that remarriage after 60 is a dangerous gamble. A gamble with emotional baggage, a gamble with health, a gamble with finances, a gamble with lifestyle, a gamble with freedom. But companionship, that's a winning bet. Now let me pull you into another story, something you need to hear about happiness in old age. A man named Frank, a widower at 65, lonely as an unplugged phone. He spent 2 years trying to fix the loneliness with dating, flirting, and even, heavens help him, online matchmaking. He went on dates with women who wanted romance, security, marriage, commitment, financial stability, a partner. And every time a woman mentioned marriage, he'd smile, but deep down he would hear a tiny voice whisper, "You're not built for this anymore." One day, at a grocery store, he bumped into a woman named Elise. Not metaphorically, he literally bumped into her. They were both reaching for the same bag of sugar, and he lost his balance and fell into a shopping cart. The start of a romantic comedy, isn't it? But instead, it was the start of a deep, gentle friendship. They talked that day, then again the next week, and then again 2 days later. Eventually, they had breakfast together every Saturday morning, sitting in a quiet cafe, sharing stories, confessing fears, laughing at the absurdity of life. After 2 years of his comfortable, warm companionship, she asked him, "Frank, do you ever think about marriage?" He reached across the table, held her hand, and said, "Why would I ruin the best thing in my life by complicating it?" And she agreed. They've been happily not married for 11 years, still sharing breakfast, still holding hands at the grocery store, still understanding that love doesn't need a legal document to be real. Friend, listen carefully. Senior men need connection, not commitment. Presence, not possession. Love, not legality. But let me tell you what scares older men more than marriage: the fear of being alone. You'd be shocked how many old men rush into marriage because the house feels too quiet, because the evenings stretch too long, because the bed feels too big, because the silence gets too heavy. But here's the twist. Many of them end up feeling even lonelier after remarrying. Why? Because loneliness isn't cured by adding a person to the room. It's cured by adding meaning to the connection. And meaning doesn't come from marriage. It comes from the right person, the right bond, the right comfort, the right rhythm. Men forget this. Women sometimes forget it too, but I'm here to remind you. Let me give you one last story, because I know you love the dramatic ones. A man named Theodore, handsome at 78, in a distinguished scarecrow kind of way. He remarried at 75 because he didn't want to die alone. His bride was 62, younger, but not young, you know what I mean. But after the marriage, she wanted to travel. He wanted to nap. She wanted adventure. He wanted stability. She wanted romance. He wanted predictable meals. She wanted a life he could no longer give. And that mismatch, that clash of expectations, turned their marriage into tension, arguments, and misunderstandings. 3 years later, he told his son, "I should have stayed single. We could have been friends. Instead, we became an obligation to each other." Do you see the pattern, friend? I'll say it plain. Marriage past 60 is full of mismatched expectations, but companionship past 60 is full of peace. That's the truth. The truth men don't want to admit. The truth women deserve to know. The truth I'm giving you heart to heart, wrinkle to wrinkle. And now, let me end this with something gentle, something true, something from this old man's soul to yours. As we age, we don't need more commitments. We need more comfort. We need laughter. We need someone to talk to while drinking tea. We need someone who listens without judging. We need someone who stays not because they signed a paper, but because they genuinely want to be there. That is the real treasure of old age. Not marriage, not remarriage, not legal bonds, but connection. And if a man wants love after 60, if he wants warmth, if he wants affection, he can have it. But he doesn't need a wedding for it. He needs a friend, a companion, a soul that matches his rhythm. Someone who sees his old bones, his old mistakes, his old stories, and smiles anyway. Just like I'm smiling at you right now, friend. Because talking to you, sharing this with you, sitting here, heart open, soul relaxed, this is love. in the purest form two aging hearts can make. And it didn't need marriage at all.